Yeah, you know what similarity I kind of see dance trends, like what's trendy in dance, what's popular in dance to the whole world, are those trendy like Fortnite dance moves and like
Right.
all the popular dances, right?
Yeah.
They have a name and all this, and I feel like that's how the whole world knows dance is through those pop dances, right? Like if there was a pop song on the radio, it's not that great.
Right.
There's still effort put into it, but it's not as good as like underground music or whatever stuff that's less known, right?
Yeah.
But like they had to do it to get to that level where everybody recognizes it. So for dance, I see like those dance trends, like that's what gets people to dance more is because of those silly dance moves, you know?
Yeah.
But now, if you look at it, a freestyle dancer or like a serious dancer, that's the equivalent of like the serious music genres
100%.
nobody's listening to.
100%.
But imagine if you can translate it somewhere and take your skills and translate it to people that don't know anything about dance and they could still be wowed by it. Like that
Yeah.
skill, that's like a whole nother skill on its own.
I agree.
Imagine if you could focus on just that and communicating. Like, for example, like Keone and Mari, like they are super technical, super good, but they also are super good at communicating that to the audience.
100%. I think that what they just did with the dance book is like, that's all the type of stuff that we're talking about in the good way that I think people like some people like them are pursuing, that is changing dance and keeping dance the spirit of what I think the art of dance should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in this age where it's like, it's honestly so relatively speaking easy for us to create just absolutely unreal content if we wanted to. But people are just settling just for like so little because they're seeking a reward before they even really honestly know what the reward is. It's like, that's what's weird about it, I think, is that people aren't finding the reward in having made something really, truly amazing. They're finding the reward and gratification from others. And that's like, that's always going to influence people, but I feel like it's at a heightened level at this point in time.
Yeah, they're addicted to the views, man, the likes and the views.
Because I've been talking about this, that I feel like it directly translates to, they look at it as like money in their pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like those views and those likes are just a number, just like people's bank account is a number at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, you know that's not even true at all. It doesn't even matter how many likes or how many views you get. It's the amount of engagement. How many people are actually engaged in your stuff and actually like a fan of you that would actually go as far as buying your stuff that you sell or watching everything you put out. It's the amount of connection, right? That's what people are trying to measure nowadays is how long are they actually watching your video?
right.
How many comments are they leaving? Are they starting conversations in the comment section? Like how engaged are they, right? And that's what really that's the true currency.
That is what's crazy, because everything I feel like has whittled down to just whatever the initial engagement or interaction is on anything that you put out. And I think that is like a really weird time for people that have been around longer than that to navigate, because even me, it's like I used to post stuff and think like, all right, I'm about to put out a teaser that I'm putting some out 2 days in advance. Like most of the time now I'll announce and like an hour before I drop something. I know that I'm about to drop it for a long time, but I'll announce it like maybe an hour, like, all right, stay tuned in an hour, or I'll just upload it. Like I don't really even say anything because that's just now what people do. Like I was at a birthday party last night and I was just mind blown because everybody was talking around, like just chilling, like standing around talking and just like hanging out, and someone just was like, Drake just dropped the album, and then someone literally within 10 seconds of that cut off the aux cord, plugged in a new phone, and the whole party was instantly, now the whole party, 50, 60 people now listening to the Drake album that had been just released right at that moment. And I was like, this is really crazy. Like we live in a crazy time period for that to happen. You know,
It's so fast. Everything's so, it moves too quickly, you know?
it's hard to ingest all of it.
Yeah, yeah. There's too much content nowadays. So how do you stand out, right?
Yeah, because like I remember it, and it's going faster and faster because literally even on a different Drake album, a couple Drake albums ago, I was excited. I was so excited for the album to come out. I like went to the store and bought a hard CD copy because I wanted to have like a real copy of it. And like that's just not even a like that's not even a thing in this time anymore.
Dude, yeah, that's funny. I started buying what do you call it? Metallica CDs. It's funny because it's like, I don't know, man, like there's something about having something physical and having something tangible that shows your support to your artist.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that a lot of dancers kind of lack that.
I agree.
Like they're not creating things that tells a story about them.
Yeah.
Because the way I see products and the way I see like CDs or like music videos and content that you create, it's all connected to you, like as an artist. Like if you're only putting out certain things, like people are only going to see that.
Right.
Imagine if you give them something to be a part of. Like you give them like Jabberwockies, they sell their mask because people want to be like Jabberwockies. So they're not selling their mask, they're selling their brand, like their story.
100%.
So that's the thing that most dancers don't get is they think that, oh, I'm just selling out because I'm making money and selling shit. But it's like, no, like you're giving people something to keep that represents you, who you are.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
There's so many possibilities to create now because you've opened it up to not just dance, and there's a whole, so many things that you can create for yourself that relates to your dance, like the dance book.
And that's like exactly what I tried to do when I did the dance mixtape. It was kind of like the same idea. It was just like, look, none of these views and all this stuff, like this doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all because it doesn't reflect what's really going on in the community. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, when YouTube first started, no one was paying attention to views. People were paying attention to, oh shit, this dude in San Diego, Lando Wilkins is dancing all like crazy. He's got all this crazy musicality. Oh shit, this dude Sean from the Bay Area is like moving all like smooth and like rubbery, and like, how does his choreography look like that? And it was more about just like trying to get the underground newest tip off to what the hell was going on and where people were at and what they're working on and how legit they came to the table. And now it's like views and subscribers and money and getting booked on opportunities to go teach at camps and like that. It's like a whole industry now, whereas it used to basically just be a forum. Like, but back in the days of like Boogie Zone, it was literally just, what people don't even understand is that it actually wasn't even about YouTube, the platform. When, I don't know if you remember this, but this is the way I perceived YouTube. MySpace was the thing and other websites were the thing. So I would go to Boogie Zone to watch dance videos, or I would go on people's MySpace pages to watch videos, but they were embedded YouTube videos. So to me, YouTube was just a third-party video hosting site.
It's literally, that's what it is. It's just a platform.
And I didn't even know anybody at the time that spent time on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know a single person that went to youtube.com and then searched for videos. Like, I only knew people and only watched YouTube videos that were embedded on websites or whatever. To me, it was like the quick time of the internet, basically. So that's like an era that I don't even think people could like remotely understand in this time, because,
well, now it's just in a different packaging now.
Yeah,
it's still the same thing, but in a different form. Like, there's Instagram, there's your phones now. Like, that's the new YouTube.
Yeah,
people are tuning into something. It's like, I don't know, like 50 years ago, like the thing was like TV, like that was their YouTube. Like, let's all gather around the TV and watch this thing that somebody made.
Right.
It wasn't about the TV. It was about the way you're consuming your content.
Yeah.
Right? And for me, it's like, well, if you recognize different platforms, like where else could dance live? Like,
Right.
it could live on in a podcast. It could live on in a book.
Yeah.
It could be so many other things, not just the physical thing about dance.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
there's a lot of concepts that you could just discuss even. It has nothing to do with your body actually moving, but it's like, it's still dance related. And that's the thing that a lot of dancers aren't thinking about, like the other shit, you know, the other stuff that.
Well, I don't see why it's also not like a big thing in dance. Like, I would say that I am poorly educated on how my body should be working with dance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I lack as a dancer. Like, I don't have the knowledge that I feel like someone who earns my living off of the way my body moves. I feel like I don't have an appropriate level of education on my physical anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that like wasn't necessarily ever stressed on me, you know, like coming up, like I just came up in a scene where that just wasn't important. And that's something that's important. Like I said, another time, like music, like understanding of music is important for a dancer. Like, I think it should be stressed on dancers to go to stuff like yoga and learn how to breathe and control themselves. And like all of these things are things that I think is like, would be next level to a dancer, but I think dancers are just still in the mode of like, all right, got my tap class today, got my this class, got my this class, got my this class, got my this class, like no other form of education other than just moving their body. It's becoming like just becoming little robots with high technique, but like they are not connecting with it because it's just their job. Basically, they're told that this is what it is and they just do it, and it's not, they don't have a full perspective of what the meaning of it is.
Yeah, because if dance, right, if dance is a representation, let's say dance is not even dance, let's say dance is just a picture of who you are as a person, right? How interesting is that picture gonna be if you're not even experiencing that much in life? Because it's your experiences, your relationships, your connections with people, like everything you do in life is who you are, right? Now, who you are is represented in your dance.
Right.
So imagine if you never did anything, you just stayed inside your house and then you just started dancing. Like, your dancing's probably just gonna be like this. But imagine meeting so many people, seeing so many things. Like, how inspired are you gonna be to create something even better? Like, once you fill your brain in like, ooh, a director or like filmmaking and all, and you're enriching your mind with different things that has nothing to do with dance, but you're enriching your own life and who you are as a person, you're growing as a person. Like, your dance is just going to follow that.
100%. And that's what I think is so crazy about dance, is that they don't tap into enough, is like something that we're able to share and click in on and like, and just all be on the same page about, is like when you go to a dancer's like circle or session or something like that. And like, I was just at a carnival the other night and there was a session going on and like a little circle. And I just like stepped back from the circle after I did a round, and I was just looking at the look on everybody's faces, and everybody was just 100% engaged, smiling, you know, like giving positive energy and showing love. And I don't think I knew anybody's name in the circle. And I feel like, you know, not most of the people didn't know each other in the circle, but that's a huge skill set for that people don't even really think about, is like the ability to be in a new scenario or a quote unquote uncomfortable scenario or whatever, and to be able to be that exposed and natural and raw and exchanging with somebody, is like, that's such a huge skill set that we have as dancers, that we should be using that in other places. It doesn't have to be just like crawl back into your shell as soon as you're not in dance world. Like, do you know how uncomfortable most your average human would be, you know, standing on the edge of a circle, like being in the middle of it? Like, people have no idea what to do sometimes when that aren't dancers, when they show up to like a dance party. Like, they feel uncomfortable. Should I be dancing?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
should I be doing? You know.
And then they get on their phones. They're like, I'm gonna be comfortable and get on my phones and not interact with anybody. And You know, they feel comfortable in their zone, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, because being social is like a whole nother skill that you actually need, because as a human, we're social animals. Like we survive because we help each other, not because like we're by ourselves and we have survival skills or whatever, but like we survive in communities. Like if you notice, cities, countries, like everybody works together so that we could progress in life.
Yeah.
So if you're lacking that skill of that just basic social knowledge,
Understanding.
right? Social understanding.
And I think the dancers are doing themselves a disservice by not recognizing that. You know what I'm saying? By not recognizing that we are coming together for a reason that's pure. And then that's the whole thing that worries me about the next generation, is that a lot of them aren't familiar with the original reasons as to why people would come to class, and as to why people would train, and as to why people would want to improve. And because of so many new elements in class with the camera and videos and things like that, I feel like people think that I'm crazy when I'm like worrying about dancing that way, but it's not. It's like I'm worried that they won't understand what this was from and the reason why this happens. You know what I'm saying? Because just because I'm looking at some kid that's 14 years old that is doing some high skill level dance that I would never be able to do in a million years, it's not that that's bad. It's that I don't feel what I felt when I watched someone who was maybe way less skilled 13 years ago when I watched this person dance online. And that is that I felt them. I felt that they were like doing something special. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that I don't think people aren't special nowadays. It's just that there's a distinct lack of feeling that I see in a lot of the new generation coming up. And I perceive that as the environment that people are learning to dance in. And it's skew of priority. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so how can we get people on track? What's like the one thing that we have to say to the dance community that might have forgotten what the purpose of dancing is? Like what's the reason, you know? Like everybody has their own reasons, but like how can we get people to remember that reason?
I think that it should happen way more often, that we have like more forums and just like Q&A panels and things like that, because the dance community actually is really bonded in a way that I don't really know any other artistic community. Even though if you're in it, it would be easy to not think that way. But when you see other artistic communities and sometimes their lack of connection and ability to come together to support each other and things like that, we actually have it together pretty good in the dance community, especially because in general, there's teams in the dance community. There's whole teams of upwards of 30 to 40 to 50 people. And you're going to have a natural amount of beef in any community that you're going to have, but we actually have it pretty nice. So I think that more community driven events, like I went to Crew Love, and, you know, I'm really proud of Hans and his team. Like they're all doing really good things with their events. I think just social events in general. That's why I've tried to start doing the jams and things like that. I think it's healthy for dancers to understand that this doesn't have to be ultra serious performance class mode all the time, because that's not why any of us that started doing this maybe around 10 or 15 years ago, that's not the reason why any of us started dancing.
Yeah, like why not just get a whole team of dancers and look for people that are skilled in other things and make a dance movie that's created by dancers for dancers, you know? Going back to the dance movies, I think that having that strong community will also help you create a better dance movie.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's something like that. Or even I've been thinking recently about like a documentary, like doing some history on urban dance, or potentially like maybe even just Wiggles, like, you know, because he's just like a whole history box in and of himself in dance. But yeah, like things like that, I think that dancers need to start coming together and thinking more outside the box to give light to what dance is really about, just based off the fact that putting out, unfortunately in this time, putting out your arts is simply actually just not enough at this time. And that is sad to say, but if I put out a video that I spend, 3 months on and, $2,000 or $3,000 or something like that out of my own pocket, it is a fact that it will statistically, be seen whatever 1/15th or 1/20th of what some people are putting out, and the next day getting, however many views, right? And that's not to say that views matter. It's just to say that we have to find other ways to express other than what it used to be, which was just our content, just our dancing. That in this time period is not enough, and that's just understanding that and trying to figure out a way to still be heard and still create an avenue for people that do think like this to express themselves and feel comfortable and stuff like that.
Dope. All right, man. That was a pretty dope conversation. I like how it went from dance movies to super deep concepts of where dance came from, the reason why we dance and all that. So I really enjoyed it, man.
I mean, that's the coolest thing I think about dancers is that dancers will go down the rabbit hole because when you sit down with a real dancer, we sit and we think about this stuff a lot of time.
Yeah, but you notice that nobody ever freaking records it and posts it. And the thing is, I bet you there's a lot of other dancers that think like this, or that want to just talk to somebody that thinks like this. And it's hard to find people like that, like you really have to dig and really like talk to people to understand how people think. And the thing is, most of the times dancers are very comfortable in their own zone, and they're not going out there reaching out to other dancers like, hey, let's just talk about stuff. But they're just like, hey, let's collab, let's do some dancing, and it's like, yes, but there's got to be more than that, because if you're just dancing, it's not enough,
Because the art's going to just suffer because it's not getting enough inspiration. It's like you're not giving it enough oxygen or water or whatever, it's just going to maintain.
Right. Lesson of the day, nurture yourself and your dance will follow, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Ken.
All right. Well, thanks again for being my guest.
Yeah, bro. I got you.
You guys can find him at Ian_Eastwood on Instagram, at Twitter. Yeah.
All the good.
Look him up. Google him up.
Look me up.
Hello, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to subscribe to my email blog at successfuldancing.com, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at can.poriotics. That's CAN, like yes you can, .poriotics. See you next time. Peace.